table back there that we got initiatives on the table back there that we got to get signed. What's the deadline for that?
It is December the 30th of 2023. So we need 400,000 signatures.
We need some signatures, guys. We
End
got
of December. But we've done this before, and we're going to do it again because rights are not surrendered. Rights are not taken by tyrants; they are surrendered by cowards. So what I need is a personal investment by every single person in this room to fight for liberty and to fight for a delineation between I am a law-abiding citizen and I am not a criminal. You have every right to demand criminal accountability and action.
I was just going to say that, but so without further ado, because he's going to say it better than I would, we need to hear from Eric, and he's going to give us, you're the spokesman for this, right?
Apparently, yeah. That's
there you go. Spokesman Eric.
And I am so proud and I'm so pleased to be a part of this initiative, because this initiative will provide the first delineation. This is a national first, and we're kicking it off on Whidbey Island because there are fighters here on Whidbey Island. Right. There are people that will not yield. There are people that understand that your knee bone, and you listen to me good, it runs all the way from your knee, all the way up to your neck. And when a man comes to you and proposes to bend your knee, they're actually proposing to what? To break your neck. These gun laws have not worked. Nope. Let me be very clear about that. We are at a 15-year high. A 15-year high of violent crime against law-abiding citizens. Forgive me when I say this, but I gotta issue political platitudes. As well-intentioned, potentially, okay, air quotes, that these gun laws may have been, who have they made safer?
Criminals.
Have they made you safer?
No.
If I asked you guys right now, how much has violent crime risen in the state of Washington? Right, no, let me correct myself. In the city of Seattle alone, since 2007, what percentage would any one of you shout out? Let me get some answers. 169%.
I was going to say that.
Of course you were, Damien. So what does that mean?
They don't work.
I have said this for a long time. Rights are not taken by tyrants.
They're given away.
They are surrendered by cowards.
Yep.
Are there cowards in this room?
No.
What this initiative does is it provides a separation between who is a criminal and who is a law-abiding citizen. Why would you take arms from a man or a woman that has never committed a crime? To control them. Thank you. You guys understand this, but this is David versus Goliath. We are outmoneyed. We are outmatched. But what we are not is out-hearted. The heart of a patriot beats 10 times harder than that of a subservient worm. And you are not subservient worms. You are patriots. I have been accused of being an extremist before.
No. Say it isn't so.
I'm not an extremist. I'm extremely American. How many other people in this room do I have that are extremely proud of being American? Rights are not taken by tyrants. They are surrounded by cowards. This is a turnkey franchise, 2078. Initiative 2078 will be a first in the nation to provide a delineation and a segmentation between what is a criminal and what is a law-abiding citizen. If I asked all of you right now, what is the percentage increase of wait times to get a law enforcement officer, a LEO, out to your home? From 2007, we're talking about 15-year highs, it's 2023, right? You're asking me to do fast math, but I'll do it. What do you think that percentage of increase in time is? If you had somebody breaking in your family to political betters, you are a failure as a protection of your family. It is your responsibility to do so. But we need your involvement. We all talk a good talk. I talk a good talk. Ask about 4 people in this room, they'll tell you all about it. Okay? But I back it up with action. And what I need is I need a commitment of action from each and every one of you. If you want to change the world that you live in, who has to change it? Who has to take personal responsibility for that?
We do.
You do. So how do you do that? Well, it's like a McDonald's franchise. We built a turnkey operation for you. I need you to leave this meeting today with a tremendous amount of petitions in your hand. I need you to sacrifice time to go out and gather signatures. You know what this is? That's a little tin cup I'm about to rattle. Who has more money, Democrats or conservatives? Say it again. Who has more money, Democrats or conservatives?
Well, they spend their money.
Somebody just said it the right way. Conservatives do have more money, but Democrats spend it the right way. So what this comes down to is what wins wars? Blood and what? Blood and treasure. We need to print thousands and thousands of these petitions. And what happens as a by-proxy? As a by-proxy, we're going to go gather hundreds of thousands of signatures. We're going to have conversations with hundreds and thousands of people. We are going to raise tremendous amounts of capital. And what will that be utilized for? Our rights. Because again, rights are not surrendered, are not taken by tyrants. They're surrendered by cowards. But we've got a lot of bravado. We've got a lot of it. Everybody, Trump's going to save the world. The storm is coming. The Kraken and blah, 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 blah. I haven't seen a Kraken, and I haven't seen a storm. But what if I told you it's on your shoulders? People talk all the time about what they will do. Really listen to me. They talk about what they'll do for liberty. But that's not what our founders said. They said the tree of liberty requires what?
Action.
It requires sacrifice. If you think it just comes down to how much you'll type on a keyboard, how much you'll obviously support our next governor, Sebby Bird.
Yeah.
It comes down to more than that. How much flesh will you lay on the altar of freedom to preserve the founders' republic? So I'm shaking the tin cup. I need a commitment from everybody in here that we will voraciously pursue signatures. We will collect 400,000 signatures. We will collect the money that is needed to fight these people where the battle is at. I don't like coming out here and having to ask for these things, but I do know something is true. That liberty is not preserved by actions, that liberty is preserved by sacrifice. Am I in a room of patriots that will sacrifice for the preservation of the Founders' Republic and to protect their rights, to protect their family? Can I hear it? Your individual decisions are a butterfly wing that starts a hurricane. I never saw myself here. In 1998, 1999, I was a young kid just out of college that moved here to Wisconsin. And I turn on the news one day and I see Tim Eyman. And I see him fighting about $30 car tabs. And I saw him pariahized and attacked. But I grew up in a home where we understood conservative values. And we understood that we are a bottom-up nation. That the most vulnerable minority in the world, I'm a Jewish man, I think you saw the kippah. But guess what? Guess what the most vulnerable minority in the world is? Bingo. The individual. And the only way that we empower that individual is pledging to prepare, support, unite, and defend, and coalesce around that individual. If we do not do that, if we will not answer the battle that David faced against Goliath, the battle is already lost. We have an opportunity right now to coalesce hundreds of thousands of voters around the fact that the battle that has been laid before us is the battle to protect our rights, to protect our family. Nobody else will do that. That is your responsibility, as the head of your home. Do you love this community? Do you love your island? Do you love your state? It's one thing to hate your government but love your state. I love this state. Mount Baker's beautiful. but I don't love my government. Because every single one of these gun laws that have passed have only empowered criminals and placed every single one of you at danger. Crime, violent crime has risen 129%.
69, honey.
Pardon me?
169.
169%, thank you. Everybody meet my beautiful wife, that keeps me honest.
More than 120 now.
But when did it start? 2007. What did we see happening beginning in 2007? We saw the introduction of laws that prohibited the defense of family, self, and others, and protected criminals. You are the only ones that will stand against this. This is how it's always been. I come from a family that fought with the White Army against the Red Army. I come from a family that survived the camps and the Holocaust. And you know what they didn't do to survive? They didn't outsource the preservation of their liberty to betters. They didn't believe in these conspiracy theories or whatever you want. They said, I take personal responsibility and I am going to dig in. I'm going to print off these petitions. I am going to go host signature gatherings. I'm going to go host events where we talk about this. And I'm going to donate the money that is needed, because that's a sacrifice. And we already talked about what a sacrifice is. A sacrifice preserves liberty. Actions typically are lip service that lead nowhere. And I need each and every one of you to raise your hand and say that I support the Constitution of the United States against enemies both foreign and domestic. That I will stand against the tyrant that stands on the neck of the small man. And I will join shoulder to shoulder with those people that surround me. And we will create positive change, or God darn it. I said, gosh, Daryl. We're going down with the ship. Can I get an amen?
Oh, yeah.
God bless you all. Support I2078. We're going to win this thing, and it's going to go from every single one of your help. Raise your hands right now if you want to learn how to help I2078 repeal these gun laws and learn about how we can protect our own protection, our own families here in this nation. I know you all can do it. God bless you all. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Because I rambled. Daryl, go.
Important question. If you take some of these initiatives and get them filled out, what do you do with them?
After you get them, filled out.
Yes.
So look at this, Tim.
That Tim.
Yeah, Eyman. Yeah, clearly. So after you fill out an initiative, there should be information, I believe, on the backside of the initiative that will tell you where it gets mailed in. We need to make sure a couple of things, that you do print it out on 11x17 paper, that it is printed both in front and back, and that the person that is gathering signatures attest under penalty of perjury. Nope, stop there. Okay,
Another question.
go ahead.
I used to work for American Petition. Anybody that came to my table, I asked them, what county are you from? When's the last time you registered to vote? We wanted registered voters on those petitions. Is that true in Washington State? No. So you can just have anybody sign them.
Tim, come up. Tim, come on. I'm trying to shepherd hook Tim over to me. Michelle Darnell.
Eric, I just have a quick question, because during 2022, we had 11 initiatives, and we had a lot of people put a ton of time, ton of money into that. It actually competed with our campaigns, and I would say that it was kind of a drag on campaigns. What are we going to do this time? Because frankly, anybody running in 2024 should be getting started right now. What are we going to do to make sure we have a symbiotic relationship between the initiative effort and campaigns?
Fair question.
I think it can be done. How are we going to do it?
So let me ask you a question. Your concern is that by engaging in the initiative process, that we are creating a drag or negative tempo for those that are candidates.
It's a division of resources. We only have so many resources. Me as a candidate, I had a hard time finding a day to have an event or people to help me volunteer, because they were all working on the 11 initiatives. Now, I think it's a valuable effort. I think we need to be smart about how we do it, that it's symbiotic with campaigns.
No, I understand. Let me ask you this. What conservative candidate has elected to office that has prevented the erosion of our rights in the state of Washington? Anybody?
I'm sorry?
What candidate has been elected to office that has prevented the erosion of our constitutional rights here in the state of Washington.
We're in the minority.
Look at, listen, if that was working, you guys would all be shouting names out. It's not working, okay? What's not working is to do the same thing over and over and over again. There's a definition for that. Does anybody know what it is? So it's insanity, Michelle. So what we have to do is we have to change up the schematics. We have to change up the strategy. What happens when we all go out and we gather 400,000 signatures and we raise money? The end result is that we hopefully pass this initiative and we put it in the hands of the voters, and that's all that all of us that are involved with this initiative want to do. But in the meantime, I like to play layered onion. What we also do is we expose hundreds of thousands of voters to conservative ideology. We make connections with them, and we get them comfortable with the idea of no longer being a spectator, and we get them activated, and we get them organized. Can I answer all the questions about how split this ticket will be? Absolutely not. Can I tell you that we have any singular candidate? How many people here still believe that elections matter?
It still matters. It doesn't work. It matters.
Yes, it matters.
Did a majority of the hands in this room raise yes or no? Voter confidence is at an all-time low. I am not going to take this battle to an arena that there's no confidence for victory in. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take this battle to one that we understand where 400,000 people can raise their voices and petition their grievances against the state. And if we don't pass the initiative, in the meantime, what we do is we let them know that we exist and that we are watching and that we are raising money and that we are advancing our causes. And I understand what it feels like to be disenfranchised. I want you all to grow up Jewish in the Midwest. It wasn't fun. But guess what? Iron sharpens iron. Fire tempers steel. Stones sharpen blades. We're looking for people that are willing to be the knife, drug over the stones, to hone their edge, and to engage in this battle with us. Can I guarantee victory? Absolutely not. Can I guarantee other things? You bet your ass I can. What I can guarantee is that we will network with one another, and that we will get the names and the phone numbers and hundreds of thousands of contact information for people, because there's ripple effects in this world. Damien?
So, if I can e-sign documents for insurance and I can e-sign documents for real estate transactions, can I e-sign a document on a petition?
No. That's another law. You guys want to start an initiative to change
I
it?
had to ask, I didn't know what to get to a lot.
Hey guys, I got a great idea here. Since you guys are asking questions about how these initiatives work, why don't we hear from the guy that puts them together and knows how they do it?
So let me be real clear. Tim Eyman is our initiative expert. Tim has been involved in the initiative process since 1998. He has saved the taxpayers, how much, Tim, was it?
Nothing. I didn't do it. Voters did it.
Voters did it. But how much, yeah, good job. How much have voters saved through the initiatives that you diligently worked on?
60.1 billion.
So let's talk to the initiatives. Mr. Tim Eyman. Tim Eyman.
Well, thank you very much for putting on this event. It's very exciting to get this kind of turnout. There's a saying, if you're a hammer, all you see is nails. All I've ever seen in the state of Washington that has ever worked is an initiative. It's the only thing I've ever seen work. I've seen candidates run, I've seen other things tried, not tried. We've gotten 17 initiatives qualified for the ballot. Every initiative that qualified changed the conversation, got everybody talking about what we cared about when we were pushing that particular one. This one, very proud of this one. 1999, Initiative 695. This was our shirt that we had at the time. We raised $75,000 and only spent $50,000. We got 514,000 signatures in 5 months. 180 people got half the signatures. Now, after the whole thing was over with, I mailed out 180 shirts, and I said, I got half your signatures. All I got was a stupid t-shirt. But I did get those notes from a lot of people. But that was over 5 months, getting 500,000 signatures when there was no websites, no emails. This is 1999, people. This is way long time ago. We didn't have the networking opportunities we have today, but 180 people did not constantly call me saying, give me stuff. We had 180 entrepreneurs. Just went out and did their own thing. That's what you need. You can't have, I don't want foot soldiers. I want 180 generals. I want people that are out there coordinating their own thing. Not asking us where to go, what event should I go to, where do you want to assign me. The way to do this, the way to really have success is every one of you is mistaken. I don't want you walking out of here with a stack of petitions. I want you to walk out with 2. I want one that you start filling up immediately. And the second one is you make as many copies as you want of it, and then that way you have as many as you want. And sky's the limit. Go to a local copy store, get a bunch. I got 100 today. I went to Office Depot and printed up a bunch of them, 58 bucks. Not a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I said to myself, I want to come here, make sure that there's some petitions here. A little miscommunication on whether or not we were going to have any here. But initiatives are not about the initiative itself. It's about a vote on the initiative. Red light ticketing cameras. Anybody familiar with what these things are? They have them in Linwood, they have them in Seattle. They were bringing them to my hometown, Mukilteo, and our first petition said ban red light cameras. We're getting a couple of signatures. When we said let the voters decide, just a prop here. When we started talking about let the voters of Mukilteo decide red light ticketing cameras, suddenly everybody and their brother was signing it. So you don't have to convince everybody this is the greatest thing that they've ever seen. You don't have to get them to understand everything that's in the initiative. All you have to do is convince them, don't you think the voters should have a chance to vote on this one? All we're trying to do is get it on the ballot. Now, there's a lot of people who can tell you the history of the Second Amendment and the fights we've had, the wars we've had, and all that time you're telling those stories. 5 or 6 people walked by that could have signed the petition. All you're trying to do is say, are you a voter? If the person says yes, I always do it with I'll actually do a real one. Excuse me, young lady. Usually it's an older woman. They giggle. Excuse me, young lady, do you happen to be a voter? Of course I am, is usually the response. Have you had a chance to sign our petition? We're trying to get it on the ballot. Would you like to sign it? What's it about? It's about letting law-abiding citizens protect themselves. All we're trying to do is get it on the ballot. By signing it, you're not for it, you're not against it, you just think it's okay for the voters to vote on it. The less you say, the better. Let them talk. Another thing I would highlight, so it's not the initiative that you're selling. You're selling the idea of a vote on it. Everyone likes voting. Voting's cool. Voting's neat. I get to choose. What I love about the initiative process is everybody's vote counts exactly the same. My vote counts just as much as Jay Inslee's vote does. I love it. It just drives me crazy. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I'm the governor. I have more power than all these people, these unwashed masses. Why should they be able to make decisions like this? Initiatives are brutally difficult. Yet we've done it 17 times, qualified initiatives for the ballot. You get it on the ballot, you change the conversation about the entire topic. And the thing that I love what Larry did with this initiative, and this is not my initiative, this is Larry Jensen, gentleman right over here. Can I have some standing ovation for Larry? Everyone stand up, please. Larry. What Eric talked about, tip of the spear, is exactly right. You have to have one person who's masochistic enough, I use that word on purpose, masochistic enough that they're willing to sponsor an initiative. If you're the sponsor of an initiative, they start to give you kind of the full rectal exam and they try and examine everything about you and trying to figure out what your vulnerabilities are. But the reality is, you're not voting on a person, you're voting on an idea. And this initiative, see, effing good idea. It's a flippin' good idea. What it says is all these anti-Second Amendment laws, fine for criminals, just leave us law-abiding citizens alone. That's all it is. It's just a differentiation saying criminals, you want to go ahead and have a registry of criminals, I don't have a problem with it. But why would you want to have a government registry of law-abiding citizens? It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you confiscate a law-abiding citizen's firearm without due process? How can you possibly argue the opposition to that? But that's if you get into the details. I don't want you to get into the details. You're trying to get 400,000 signatures in 7 months. We got 500,000 in 5 months. I was 33 years old, had no experience with initiatives, no one knew who I was, nobody knows who Larry is. Nobody cares who Larry is. Nobody cares who Tim Eyman is. What they care about is what does the initiative do. If they like what it does, they'll sign the petition. They'll be more likely to sign it if you're not trying to get them to vote for it. You're just trying to get them to sign the petition so that voters can vote on it. I many times said, I'm against your initiative. If you believe a majority of voters agree with you, sign it, let's put it on the ballot, and then let's find out.
Amen.
If we get it on the ballot, the voters will decide. And maybe you'll hear some arguments in that debate that will maybe change your mind, maybe not. But we're not going to have that debate unless it qualifies. By signing it, you're not saying it's a good idea. You're only agreeing that it's an idea that's worth the voters having a chance to vote on. Now, the thing I love about what Larry did with this initiative is it's very targeted. I can't tell you how many Second Amendment people I've talked about where they talk about I should have a right to have a machine gun and a tank and a nuclear bomb and all these other statutes that are on the books, and I just roll my eyes and just go, that's not where the fight is. The fight is a magazine ban, assault weapons ban is a stupid term, they made it up, whatever, it's the way people hear about it, and the registry. That's what it's about. And it just says those things don't apply to law-abiding citizens. They apply to criminals. Throw the criminals under the bus. I don't care about the criminal being banned from having so many rounds in a magazine. I don't care. That's fine. That law is fine for me if it's for criminals. Assault weapons ban. You don't want an AR-15 in a criminal's hands? I don't have a problem with that. If it's a law-abiding citizen, why should I care? If that's what it takes to be able to protect that person, that should be good enough. Well, look at it. Says so right there. I had my daughter with me. I would always bring my daughter to the fairs. And we were talking about the fairs earlier. And we would be at the booth. And over time, when she was 8 years old, she would just sit in the back and she would do nothing. As she was 9, she would stand next to me and hold a petition while I carnival barked and yelled for people to come over. And then by the time she was about 12, she was actually offering people a chance to sign the petition. And she once said to me, what if they ask a follow-up question and I don't know the answer? What do I do? I said, don't worry about it, Riley. Nobody ever asks follow-up questions. Next person that walked up, she said, hi, have you had a chance to sign our petition? What's it about? It's right here. This is what it's about. Well, what about this? And she turned to me, gave me the dirtiest look. So angry with me. I bust up laughing. I'm tearing up. And I answer the question, get it over with. And so she proved that I'm in the right industry, that I lied to my daughter. So sometimes people will ask follow-up questions. And what do you do with follow-up questions? It's a totally legitimate question. If we get the initiative qualified for the ballot, we're going to have a debate over that. But only if it gets on the ballot. I honestly don't want to get into the details of the initiative. I don't know backwards and forwards everything that's in the initiative. You don't need to be an expert on the initiative to collect signatures. In fact, the best paid petitioners, the American petition gentleman here, went out and collected signatures, and I'll bet you anything he didn't read every one of them. He went out with a short little pitch on each one. This is the one that I believe is a really good one. There's going to be others. There's other referendums that are out there. There's some other initiatives that are going to be coming out. They're all great. But this, the Second Amendment, I've heard it said a million times. There would be no First Amendment without the Second Amendment.
That's right.
The Second Amendment is the teeth that makes it where it's possible for us to have a First Amendment. We cannot have free speech unless we have the ability to protect ourselves and defend ourselves. So to me, this is fundamental. And also, my last rambling point, and it is a political one, is I'm pissed at the Second Amendment community. I'm pissed because I've seen every legislative session come by and they say, this is a constitutional right, I shouldn't have to fight for it, it's guaranteed. And then there's 6 or 7 different anti-Second Amendment bills that are introduced. We all go down there, we all testify, everyone stands in line, we all get them watered down. A couple of them make it through, a couple of them get watered down, we all pat ourselves on the back, and then we wait for the next legislative session, rinse, repeat, do it all over again. My head explodes. We're on constant defense. Always on defense. We're all saying these are fundamental rights, we shouldn't have to fight for them. It's exactly because we're not fighting and on offense is the reason they keep introducing 6 or 7 different bills every legislative session. This is a chance to be able to take it. I hate applause lines. Yeah. That was good. I always hated that when I ran for governor. It's just like, you know. I'm just kidding around. To answer Michelle's question is, this is also a very unique opportunity. You have 7 months from now until the end of December to collect signatures. 7 months to collect 400,000 signatures. We got 500,000 with a de minimis amount of money, all because we had a handful of people that were willing to get out there and get their hands dirty and get the thing qualified. Once it's qualified, once it's on the ballot in 24, nothing else to do. You don't have to, you can help all your candidates, you can help all your people, but just having it on the ballot is going to draw the crazies money that is going to end up trying to fight the initiative. That's right. And I want them to try and convince people why you need a registry of law-abiding citizens. I want them to explain why law-abiding citizens shouldn't be able to protect themselves. It is a beautiful, beautiful initiative process that we have where we're able to put our ideas on the ballot and the other side has to explain why it's a bad idea. And the best they've ever been able to come up with against any initiative I've ever been associated with is, don't support it because Tim Eyman's a bad guy. That's all they got. Well, Larry Jensen, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't really care. I too happen to know him very well, and he's a really good guy. But who cares? He could be Satan, I don't care. If he's the sponsor of a great idea, I still support the dang initiative. Because it's about the idea. This is an idea. It's a dang good one. I really, really like this initiative. Obviously, we talked throughout this process, and he's frustrated like I am with the legislature and how they just continually erode our rights. And he wanted to do something about it, and he volunteered to be able to be the tip of the spear. We have a committee of people that are all, you know, pro-Second Amendment people, but you wouldn't recognize their names. They're not like magical leaders or anything like that. But when we did that initiative, there were nobodies that collected 514,000 signatures. When it got on the ballot, everybody got to vote on it, and it overwhelmingly passed.
Yes.
And the thing I really loved about that initiative was that a month or 2 later, the court said, you can't do that. And Gary Locke held a press conference the same day and said, regardless of the court's ruling, $30 license tabs are here to stay. Now this is a supermajority control of the House and the Senate, and we broke them because so many people voted for the initiative. That was back when I was 32, didn't know all the rules, and I thought $30 tabs and voter approval for every tax and fee increase, whether it's related to cars or not, it's all under the topic of taxation. I thought that was close enough, as close as any bill that you see down in Olympia. And it was. It was as close as any bill in Olympia. But it was an initiative, so they hold it to a higher standard. Every initiative that I've ever done that got struck down in the single subject rules because they said these things aren't related. This initiative that Larry designed is completely and perfectly single subject. The AG said this concerns guns and other arms. Is there anything in this initiative that has to do with car tabs, property taxes, anything like that? No. It's all has to do with guns. The bill title is an act relating to a law-abiding citizen's right to self-defense with a gun or other arm. Does everything in this initiative fall under that umbrella? Mm-hmm. Absolutely does. If I threw in $30 tabs, we'd have an argument, but this is all related to law-abiding citizens' right to be able to protect themselves. I'm only here to talk about how do you get initiatives qualified for the ballot? And honestly, it is not the sponsor's job to get 400,000 signatures. Larry's done his part. We have now, and I love the term turnkey, we now have a turnkey initiative. It's available. You have petitions. Walk out with 2. Collect signatures on one, get copies with the other one. Donate to the campaign, i2078.com, i2078.com. We're going to be pushing that a lot. Download the file for the petition, get them copied locally. At the end of the day, the people that are leading the effort, there's just not enough of us to keep track of the thousands of people it's going to take for this city to succeed.
That's right.
You have to take personal ownership of it and say, I'm going to do this. I knew one guy got 25,000 signatures on his own. Mind blowing. But he said to himself, this is important to me, and I'm going to stand in front of this store for the next 5 months, and I'm not going to leave until it's over with. And 25,000. The last thing I would highlight is he called them traps, crab traps. Anybody done crabbing before? He would go to stores and say, would you put this petition on your counter? And I'll come in every week and pick up the partially filled ones or replace it with a blank one. And I'm going to put my phone number at the top. You can call me if it fills up earlier. So he expanded his universe by simply asking store owners to use their counters. And it wouldn't be just gun shops. Obviously, we all think to ourselves gun shops. But it was equipment repair stores. It was barbers. It was any small business. Now, most small businesses like to stay away from political things. I understand that. But it never hurts to ask.
Right.
Answer's always no unless you ask. Last thing I'll close with, before I pass it over to Larry, who I adore and love. He's a farmer, businessman from Mount Vernon. Known him for a long time. But this initiative is an amazing opportunity. I mean, it really is. It is such a great initiative and will really put the other side on the defensive for a change. I'm not against the lawsuits that are going on. Those are great and good, and let the people do lawsuits all day long. I don't trust judges. I trust voters. If you give voters a good proposal and you have a defensible position, they're willing to be open-minded about it.
That's right.
I trust people a whole lot more than I trust politicians. And this is a beautifully crafted initiative. So I'm going to pass it on to Semi, who again is supporting. What happened?
Larry. My other brother.
Oh, Larry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Brother from another mother. I love it.
Yeah.
You're right. We're going to pass it on to Larry. Larry's going to talk about the initiative itself. But I can't tell you, without Larry, this thing wouldn't be happening at all. If it wasn't for Eric, this wouldn't be happening at all. If it wasn't for the officers that were willing to put their names out there. If we didn't have a treasurer that was willing to be able to do the job of collecting the money and processing it, reporting it, and do all the crap that they do, this wouldn't be happening. So there's a handful of people that have given you this opportunity. It's your choice on how you want to spend your time and your money, but I really think it's a good one. I think it's one of the best initiatives I've ever seen, and I'm the tax guy. That's my area of experience and stuff. But I've seen what voters are open to and what they're not. And when it comes to the right to protect yourself, a fundamental God-given right, I think the voters are very open to saying these laws might make sense for criminals, but they don't make sense for law-abiding citizens. I saw a hand.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
First, a statement. If you want to put them on a piece of cardboard with a rubber band on, give something good to sign it, Ted. And then number two, I'm going to ask the question differently.
Yes.
I would love to see this get enough signatures.
Yep.
What kind of signatures do they disavow? Every time you hand in an initiative, they say, these are not good, and they cross them out. So just tell us so that we can be cautious with that.
You can't be. It's a numbers game. It's 400,000 gross signatures. You need 325,000 valid signatures. You do the best you can. As far as I'm concerned, if the person says they're a voter, have them sign it. And if they're at a different address, there's something wrong about it, they're old, their handwriting doesn't match, there's nothing you can do about it. So at the end of the day, you do the best you can, and it's about numbers. More signatures you get, the better off you are. 500,000 signatures back then we are guaranteed to qualify for the ballot. 400,000, you're guaranteed to qualify for the ballot. It's a really simple initiative. No speeches when you're signature gathering, no pontifications, no who do you like for governor, no discussions about anything else. You're trying to get a signature on the petition to let people vote on this one idea. I think it's a damn good one. So let's hear from Larry, and thanks again.
Just in case you're wondering, I'm wearing my halo today, not my cape. But I bring good news. So both Tims, I think they understated their position a little bit, like quite a bit. They're both coaches, they're both players, and they're both cheerleaders. And I think we have to thank them for that, because we need more people like them. And let me tell you why I got involved with Tim. It's because of all his enthusiasm that he has for the years that I've known him, and it's because the causes that he picks up and goes after are so important to me. So I'm gonna read just a little bit about just an example of why this is so key to me. I don't know if you were like me until just about a year ago. I didn't realize the oath that Jay Inslee made to us and that Bob Ferguson made to us, and I'm going to read it to you because it's only about one sentence long. It says, "I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lieutenant Governor or Attorney General to the best of my ability." So then if you think, okay, that's fine, that's what is the RCW, that's the oath they have to give to be in office. So I say, well, how many have done that? So then I went and looked at the well, first of all, I looked at the U.S. Constitution, Second Amendment, and it says, "A well-regarded militia being necessary to security of the free state and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Shall not be infringed.
Pretty clear.
So it's pretty clear. The things they've been doing have been basically infringing upon our rights. So then I said, okay, let me look under the Washington State Constitution. In Section 1, it says, all political power, this is the most important one, all political power is inherent to the people, and the government derives their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's all of us. And are established to protect and maintain individual rights. Individual rights, it says. The second one, the Constitution of the United States is supreme law of the land. That's the second one in the Washington State Constitution. And the third one, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So every time Inslee signs one of these laws, he is breaking his oath. And every time Ferguson does not take Inslee to court, he is breaking his oath.
Absolutely.
So for me, that was enough to commit to helping Tim, because he's so passionate. And this Tim and all of you that are here, I want to thank you about your efforts, because we need to save our nation, we need to save our state, and we can't do it unless we do the things that we need to do, as these gentlemen have so clearly outlined today. That's all I have to say, and thank you very much.